What's up guys, it's Ace Coleman here and I'm going to show you this thing. This is the new Bowfinger 1 V2 target sight. So we're going to go ahead and open it up. We've got the sight right here, cool little bag to put the sight in, and sight tapes, decal, instructions, very handy, especially for the scope removal, which is pretty neat, and your mounting screws. Well, it's super durable. I really like how durable it is. I love that. I love the design of specifically the elevation adjustment. It's like a V-taper into this bar, as opposed to with most sights, it's like sitting on two cylinders, like these little adjustment slides made out of like Delrin or something like that. Those cylinders are not nearly as tight against the sight as a wedged design. So I really like that. It does have two sight tapes on both sides and they're angled so you can see them. That's kind of becoming the standard. It has a lock for the windage and the elevation. And when you lock those down, I'm serious, like you can wrench against this all day and you're not going to feel any play. And that alone is the most important thing to me, is the fundamental idea that a sight is not supposed to bend or move or anything like that. So these guys have really knocked it out of the park with that design. So yeah, I do like this screw as well. This is pretty neat. You basically just butt that against the screw, and every single time when you tighten this knob, it'll tighten in the dimple correctly. I also wanted to show you guys the adjustments of the first, second, and third axis. I have set one of these up before, and what I found is when you loosen them and tighten them back down just a little bit, it is so consistent on the movement. Like it moves very slow, and when you tighten them down, they don't move as you tighten them. Yeah, that's something that's really awesome about this. Mainly, I'll just look at the second axis for a visual. Second axis is right here. First axis is right there, obviously, and the third axis screws are on the bottom. With this second axis, what I have found is if we loosen this, loosen it, tighten back down, loosen that, just barely touching. So as you can see, I just snugged those up. You can move it with your hand pretty well. But if we tighten this down just a little bit, as you can see, I can really control it, and there's not a lot of jump with it. And it's really easy to tighten these back down. I also like how big the screws are for the adjustments, so you can really get those locked down. One other key takeaway that I don't have is there is a level machined to the sight for your second axis that it slides on there, and you can use it for your first axis as well. That is really cool. Back to the adjustment screws for the second, third, and first axis, the washer they use underneath the screws is really thick and it's extremely durable. You're not going to find yourself wallowing it out and bending it from repeated use. So that's something I really like. Last thing we need to touch on is the quick slide. So we're going to loosen this for our windage. Obviously you can click it up and down. I like the sound of the clicks. And then you just push this button in and it travels up and down. And then when you release the button, you need to make sure you wiggle your side a little bit to make sure it's clicked in all the way. And you can also move your clicks a little bit to make sure that button pushes out all the way every single time. With this sight scale on the side, I personally use sight marks for 3D and not a sight tape. So I set pretty much every footstep, I set my sight to the exact 1/10 of a yard that I'll be shooting. And you can look at this You can move it to either side of the bow, which is nice. But I will line up my indicator needle with, let's just say we're going to line this up with 10. I want to make sure that when I line up the needle on 10, the knob up here with this arrow, or the arrow I'll be using, depending on which side my sight tape is on, I need to make sure that it is on 0. So the needle is a little low when it's set on 10, so I would make that adjustment. We'll go ahead and do that now for Isaac. This is Isaac Bedford's sight. If you don't already follow Isaac on YouTube, I will make sure to drop his link in this video so you can. Just going to line that up, give it a little snug. Perfect. Yeah, one thing that I might try on my sight is taking this scale, which is mapped to the screw and to the knob, and just swap it to the other side. That way I don't have to turn my bow around to look at my yardage. I can just look through the shoot through of my riser and make my adjustment that way. So just for convenience sake. One thing I also found with this sight is it comes with the first axis in the middle of the sight. For most people, we've seen this for a while. We've seen most people, they take this elevation bar and they drop it down. What I found with the Bowfinger sight is they machined it in a way with this block to where most people are going to be shooting it in the exact middle. So that makes it super convenient for everyone, but if you're having problems getting your sight tape right, you can always move your first axis on those holes, or you can move your sight tape. There is 3 different sight tape options on here, and then you can move the indicator needle, I believe, in 3 different holes. So you have pretty infinite adjustment there. And as far as the indicator on this side, where most people would put a sight tape, you have all of these holes for that. So it's super convenient to do that. But all in all, that is a brief overview of this sight. Now, one last thing I will say about this sight. If you want to adjust the tension against your elevation bar for your quick slide. So if you do have any play, like this sight has maybe the smallest bit. If you have any play, you can barely, and I mean barely, take a 5/1000 Allen key, and you have these 2 holes here, and just like, I think we need a 16th Allen key. We're talking barely snugging those up. Actually a 5/64, my bad. I'm just going to do a couple of rotations on there. Like that was just one little bump. And now let's try that out. That's a lot stiffer. It's more stiff at the top, less stiff in the middle, and at the bottom. So personally, I would shoot it in a position like that to where I didn't have to use the lock as much to make sure it was locked down. And it just makes your quick slide a little more gritty, but you can always play with it to get it to where it's a good happy medium. If you want to get one of these sights, go to bowfingerarchery.com or click the link below this video to check it out. And if you have any questions at all, leave a comment and I will reach back to you. I want to help as many people as I can, especially with finding good equipment. And one last thing, if you have target panic or you're a target archer and you want to excel your skills and take yourself to the next level, make sure to click the link in this video to go to championarcheracademy.com to find a solution that best fits your needs. We'll see you guys in the next video.